Day 18 of 31 in my 31 days of horror. This is going to be Night Key from 1937, and it is 68 minutes long. Focus. There we go. And you'll notice what this collection says. It says Universal Horror Collection, Volume 4. Night Key is not a horror movie, but it's in the collection, so we're going to do it. Maybe they're just like, Boris Karloff's in it. People won't know the difference. Also, in the movie, this is an adult female. This is not Shirley Temple tied up, just so you know. So in addition to Boris Karloff, is this guy who played Dr. RX in a recent review I did, which was Dr. RX. Look at him.
On this 20th anniversary of the Ranger Protection
Quick note on the Blu-ray in this thing.
I have every
It's
reason to be
pretty
proud of
gritty,
this system, which I haven't read.
but it looks good. It's totally acceptable,
See, where was it?
and the sound was okay. That's all I'll say on it. It's
All right,
not a new
type that
scan,
up, I
though.
have it ready for-
So Boris Karloff continues to just be absolutely amazing at everything he does. Also, look at his mustache. And look at my mustache. So this is totally not a horror movie, but it's in a horror collection, so I'm reviewing it during horror time, dang it. But it has a very interesting plot. There's, so this guy invented a security system, and then the other guy that I showed at the beginning stole the patent. So this guy's poor, that guy's rich, that guy has the security system over tons of places in town, and this guy maintained a key to be able to open any of those things. And so the other guy's gonna mess with this guy again with another patent, and then this guy's gonna decide to get revenge by going around and opening places and setting off alarms and making the other guy look bad. Actually, another cool thing about this character here is he's going blind, basically. If his glasses are off, he can't see at all. And I think that's kind of a cool thing to give the hero a flaw. If his glasses are gone, he is completely disabled and has to rely on other people. So this was a good one. This movie is like a crime thriller, but it's got Boris Karloff, so we're gonna do it. There's actually a really great father-daughter relationship in this movie as well, and there's even a part where she gets in danger and he sets out to go basically rescue her. And of course there's a younger male as well, but it's actually was really nice to see a father rescuing a daughter. It just, again, I say this in all these reviews, but you just don't see a lot of this stuff now in modern movies, so it was kind of cool to see that. So the plot thickens when the bad guy basically takes his patent again and is gonna mess him up again, and so he decides to free this guy from a holding cell, and then this guy of course becomes fiercely loyal to this guy, even though he's just no, I don't want any part of crime, just stay away from me. But this guy keeps following him around, and it actually ends up being a good thing and helping him multiple times. When the police are coming to his house, he warns him and they sneak out the window.
I know it. Well, you better beat it. The door shakers are downstairs. Rangers mob. They're going to get you. Get my hat and coat and my little bag. Thanks, Louis. No. Come out this way. If you go out that door, they'll get you sure. Right.
He climbs out the window. All right, and if there's one thing you can count on in these movies, it is a young man and a young woman being magnetized together through universal powers of whatever kind. In Horror Island that I just reviewed, the girl crashed into the guy in a car, and then surprise, they ended up together at the end. Now this introduction is very weird, and I really hated this guy, and I'm oh my gosh, is this the love interest? Is this how they meet? This is horrible. And he even has a really cringy pickup line later. But look at how they meet. These guys are not police, and they don't have a warrant.
Protective Service. We're looking for Mr. Mallory.
I'm sorry Mr. Mallory isn't here.
I'm sorry, but we'll have to check on that.
Look at that, they just bust in the house and start looking around.
Please get out of my room, I'll have you put out.
Take the Army or Navy to do that.
Your warrant to come into a person's house like this.
Now, don't get
Just
excited.
a minute, Mike. The young lady is perfectly correct. We have absolutely no right in here.
Well, I'm glad you realize that.
And then he keeps searching around.
There's nothing left.
He's such a brute. He's searching her house without her permission and just being a total brute about it. I mean, yes, it's his job, but so they hold the, I guess, bigger blame. But yeah, these are the two. So yes, he kind of switches sides and like starts helping them. But this introduction is crazy. It's just like, man, these movies just like throw the young people together, and they're like, okay, these two are gonna get together. We don't know how. I mean, it's gonna be ham-fisted, but dang it, every one of these movies has to end with a couple getting together. So they bust into a clock shop, and he calls himself the Night Key, and he leaves these nasty notes like, "What I create, I can destroy," and to freak the other guy out. But the other guy won't tell people that he knows who it is because he doesn't want to admit that there's somebody that knows the patent that he screwed over. Anyway, they break into these places, and they're not supposed to steal anything, and they set stuff up and make a little note to embarrass the guy. But while they're in here, they're touching all kinds of stuff. And so it's like, did they not have fingerprinting in 1937? I mean, maybe they didn't. I'm not a criminologist. I don't know. So this little security guy slept outside her room in the hallway. And his face, he's like totally smitten with her. He's like a little puppy dog around her. But it doesn't mean that his pickup lines are not totally cringy. Listen to this one. I know he means well by it, but I took it it just sounds awful. Listen to this.
I thought you were going to stay and watch the room.
Well, your father may never come back to the room, but I've got a hunch he'll come back to you sometime.
Listen.
At least I would if you were my daughter.
Gosh. Anyway, I know he means it in like a loving, protecting kind of way, but that is a weird kind of pickup line. Anyway, he just follows her around like a little puppy, and she's super annoyed with him, and he's just like, he might, like, if he was a cartoon, he'd be like floating behind her, like he's totally smitten. So like that's kind of endearing, I guess. But the way they met, where he just barges into her house, like I don't really like that. So the plot thickens when some gangsters find out that he can basically break the lock on all these buildings. So they basically capture him and make him break into places for them. But he messes up the little machine, and it alerts the police. Then we get like a action scene. Look at this. He's gonna Judy chop him.
We gotta get out of here. Come on.
And then it goes into like this awesome like car chase. You just don't think that there would be a cool car chase in one of these old movies. But the reason they Judy chopped him is because he threw his machine on the ground and smashed it. But look at this. They even stick the truck in the back of another, or stick the car in the back of a truck. Like that's like a cool car chase move. And yeah, so I mean, like, cars are driving around fast. There's people are zipping around. People are getting Judy chopped. And at the end of the movie, there's like a shootout. Like people are dying. Like it's actually pretty awesome. Like I liked this movie. The whole time I'm like, this is not horror. Why is this in a Universal Horror collection? I mean, I'm glad. I never would have watched this. There would be no reason for me to watch this otherwise if it wasn't in this collection that I'm trying to like do reviews on and stuff. But it just doesn't belong in that collection. I don't know why it's there. So him and his little criminal friend try to escape because they kidnap his daughter, and they're like, you do this for us or she gets it. And so then they decide that he's got to bust out and go fight for his daughter, which is really cool. And they get one guy, like they rig something up so they electrocute one of the guards' chairs, and then they lead all these guys in here, and look, they've created this device. I laughed out loud on this part. This is so awesome.
What do you want? Strangers, look at him.
So they run in to see what's going on. The guy's getting electrocuted. But look at this.
Get him. What? Get him.
Look at. So cool. It's like the coolest weapon ever. Just freeze frame it right there. Look at that. That's beautiful. So quick note about the actual Blu-ray scan that I don't see on a lot of movies because usually they kind of restore it out of there. There's a ton of like film tears in the movie. They're kind of hard to like find and pause on or whatever. But what it looks like is there's like these like lines across this way that I don't know if they just like taped the film back together to do a scan or what, but like you can see that there's several tears. Like this film must have been really degraded. So it's just the fact that it's in HD is actually pretty great. So this guy has taken such a liking to the young lady, and this is his boss, and this boss is kind of annoyed because he's basically been trying to protect her. And so he's getting fired / quitting right here. But look at what his boss asks him to do. It's kind of ridiculous and funny.
Isaiah, who's paying you your salary? You are. All right. Wait a minute. Let's say you were. So that's the way you feel about it, eh?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all right with me. Have you turned in a report on that holdup last night?
No, sir.
Well, do it. Then turn in your badge and your uniform. You're through.
he's like, you're fired, but first write a report for me. And it's like, no, if you're fired, you just go. Like, you don't have to write one more report. What is that? And then he asks his buddy to do it.
Well, Mike, will you write out the report while I'm changing? I'll sign it on my way out.
Oh,
Perfect.
Sure.
Thanks.
That would have been really silly if he wrote it. Oh my gosh. This mustache is really hard to look at. It's just recreational, I swear. I can quit this mustache anytime. So he goes to rescue his daughter, but things go a little bit south, and he ends up in the car with the bad guy. But he has his little tool that messes with the signal of the alarms, and apparently there's a setting on there that can disable a vehicle. So that's really stupid. I mean, it's cool that there's this high-speed car chase going on, but the fact that his little tool can disable a vehicle is completely ridiculous. But let's watch it.
No.
So he pushes the button, and then what happens? The brakes stop working. Why? Here they go. Nice. Anyway, there's a classic good guy versus bad guy confrontation. So then the ultimate happy ending. The dad goes looking for his daughter, and she's in the back of a car macking this guy that barged into her house earlier. So you've got the main bad guy makes it right to Boris Karloff. The main gangster bad guy gets caught. This guy with the amazing slick hair ends up with this girl, and it is like the ultimate neat tie-up. The only thing that's sad is that the little small-time crook guy that was Boris Karloff's little assistant got shot to death. So, yeah, I mean, super tidy ending. This is not a horror movie. However, it's in a horror collection, so here we go. This has been day 18 of 31 in my 31 days of horror, which I'm a little behind on. So my final take on this movie is I liked it. I would totally watch it again. It's a fun crime thriller, and Boris Karloff is great and has a happy ending, so it's a good time. And then the gangsters in it are compelling as well. So it's only 68 minutes. So totally good time. I would watch it again. And the Blu-ray was all right. So anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.